The team at ScreenBeam is excited to introduce the ScreenBeam 1100 Plus, our native multi-network wireless display receiver, now with ScreenBeam Conference. Hi, it's Parker with ScreenBeam. I'm here today to tell you about the ScreenBeam 1100 Plus and our latest feature, ScreenBeam Conference, the ultimate tool to drive collaboration between in-person and remote meeting attendees in the modern hybrid workspace. Let's take a step back. The team here at ScreenBeam, like most businesses out there, went through a lot of changes last year. We had to adapt to being a remote-first workforce, where our employees were all distributed. There were a lot of great tools that allowed us to collaborate with one another while we were all working from home. But now we've started going back to the office, and we've found that those same tools that worked so well when we were all remote don't work quite as well when some people are together in an office and others are joining the meeting remotely. Now, there's a couple different solutions out there that you can take, different approaches to solve this problem. Maybe you don't have any equipment in your meeting spaces, and so you just have somebody bring their device in, they connect to the meeting, and you just join through that one user's device, because you don't want to create echoes, you don't want to confuse things, but then everybody's got to huddle around that one device, and that's not something that's going to work in a socially distanced meeting space. Maybe you have an all-in-one USB webcam microphone speaker setup like I've got here, and you've got a display, and perhaps those are all cabled devices, and so you plug them into a user's device when they come in, and then at least users can take advantage of a larger display and better video and audio conferencing. But we've created common contact points. Users have to come in and interact with these cables. They have to make sure that they have the right connectors on their computers. Are these HDMI or USB-C or USB-A? There's a lot of complexity there. You might have a traditional UC room appliance solution, a device that's standalone and really great at joining one type of meeting. It can provide a great experience for users when that's the meeting platform being used. But what about when you have a call with a vendor or a potential client and they don't use that meeting platform and you need to do something else? Now that great investment that you made isn't really delivering any results for you. So ScreenBeam Conference takes a different approach by providing a solution that allows you to connect USB peripherals like this all-in-one webcam, mic, and speakers directly to the ScreenBeam, and then wirelessly we can transmit that data back to a user's device using ScreenBeam Conference. So ScreenBeam Conference is a software-delivered solution. It's built on our native wireless display connection, so we're still using that wireless display technology. Now we come in, and in addition to connecting to the display to share content in the room, we can connect to this USB peripheral that's attached to the ScreenBeam. We can use that for our web conference. We can use that web conference to share content out to remote attendees, or they could use the web conference to share content to our in-meeting display that we could show together. So let me give you a demo of what it looks like to get connected to a meeting with ScreenBeam Conference. To connect from your Windows 10 device to the ScreenBeam, open ScreenBeam Conference. You'll see that you have two options. Project Only will allow you to share content from your device with the display connected to the ScreenBeam using the native Miracast connection built into Windows 10. Project in Conference will share your device's screen, still using that native wireless display connection. In addition, it will also connect you wirelessly to the in-room USB peripherals that are attached to the ScreenBeam, so you'll be able to use the camera, microphone, and speakers in a web conference session. I'll click Project in Conference, and then I'll pick the ScreenBeam from the list of devices in the Connect menu. I'm prompted to enter a PIN, which I'll type in here, and then click Connect. You'll notice a checkbox option when you connect to the ScreenBeam to allow mouse, keyboard, touch, and pen input from this device. Because my ScreenBeam is connected to an interactive touch display, I'm going to have that option checked. We can open up whatever meeting platform we want to use, get started with a meeting, and while connecting, we'll be prompted to choose which devices we want to use as the camera, microphone, and speakers. In this case, because we're using ScreenBeam Conference, we'll click on Settings and make sure that the in-room devices and the digital output, ScreenBeam, you see my device name there, are selected for this meeting session. Now we'll click Join Now, and the meeting can begin. Hey Carlin, hey Megan. Hey, how's it going? How are you both doing? Here, I'll get down so that you can see me for just a minute, and the camera will way overshoot me. So, hey, I wanted to get your feedback on the 1100 plus data sheet. I dropped it into Microsoft Whiteboard, so I'm going to send you a link. I'm going to share it to you in Whiteboard so that we can all annotate on it together. ScreenBeam uses the native wireless display technology in Windows 10, which allows users to take advantage of all the collaboration tools built into Windows. Microsoft Whiteboard is a great collaboration tool within the Office 365 ecosystem. Users can add images or documents to a whiteboard, they can annotate, and then share that whiteboard out with colleagues, allowing everyone to annotate on the whiteboard in real time. With ScreenBeam's patent-pending ghost inking technology, in-room meeting participants have a zero-latency pen-on-paper inking experience provided by ScreenBeam. The meeting host can share content directly to the display from their wireless connection. Other in-room participants and remote participants can use the UC Meeting application to share content to the display as well. Now that any meeting participant can share content to the in-room display, collaboration is effortless. One of the other great things about ScreenBeam on your Windows 10 device is that because we're using the native technology that's built in to the operating system, if you want to switch from duplicate to extended screen mode, all you have to do is hit the Windows key and the letter P, just as if you were cabled to the display. And now we can have this shared content on our in-room display. And separately, I can be taking notes on my device, I can be responding to a quick email, or I can be working on a mock-up. So this really allows me the flexibility to get the most out of my device as a Windows 10 user and this in-room video conferencing system so that I can collaborate with my remote meeting participants. And if we had some more people here in the office with me, they'd be able to take advantage of this as well. Hey, Carlin, Megan, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. I will catch you both later. Have a good day. When we're ready to disconnect, users can either click the disconnect button in the banner at the top of the screen, or they can open ScreenBeam Conference and click disconnect. Well, Windows 10 isn't the only kind of device that we know you have in your environment. We know there's going to be macOS users as well. And although ScreenBeam Conference isn't available for macOS yet, it will be available soon. So let me talk to you about how we can get connected and use this macOS device for sharing in the meeting. To connect to the ScreenBeam 1100 Plus from your macOS device, ensure that your MacBook is connected to the same Wi-Fi network as the ScreenBeam, or that you've connected to the ScreenBeam's local Wi-Fi. Open the Control Center on your MacBook and select Screen Mirroring. The ScreenBeam will appear in the list with the name that you created, so you'll click on the ScreenBeam, and if you've configured the ScreenBeam to require a PIN, the user will be prompted to enter a PIN. The PIN is displayed on the screen, so we'll type that in and press OK. And in just a moment, the user's screen is going to be shared to the display connected to ScreenBeam. The audio from the user's connection is also going to be shared to the display. So now we can open up any application on our MacBook and we can start sharing. So whether we're in Safari or whether we're in Outlook or whatever we're using, that content is now available right up there on the big screen. Nice and big, it's easy to view. So we can come in here, and we could even come in and watch some of our video content here. But video and audio is all going to pass through to the ScreenBeam. Now, in addition to being able to share your desktop from your macOS device, you've also got the ability, using the built-in AirPlay functionality, to switch to using the display connected to ScreenBeam as a separate display. So this is a great way to be able to share content with teammates in a meeting, to have something up here on the main display for everyone to look at, while still taking care of other tasks on your own device. So all of that productivity is preserved. And from an IT perspective, there's less of a training burden for users, because those who are already familiar with AirPlay know how to do this change. And for those users who aren't familiar with it, it's not going to be there. It's going to be connecting in the duplicate mode by default, so it won't add any extra confusion for them. When you're done using the ScreenBeam from your Apple device, you can just open up the AirPlay menu, and you can click on the ScreenBeam in the list of the devices to get disconnected. iOS devices work in much the same way. They still use the AirPlay protocol, they still need to go over the network, but one of the cool things that we've done for Apple devices like iOS is that we've implemented this ability to have a configurable QR code on the screen. So the ScreenBeam itself has the ability to broadcast an SSID that somebody could walk into the room and get connected to without being on your network, and then connect to the ScreenBeam for an AirPlay session. So if I open up the camera app on my iOS device, then I can point it at that QR code and I can join that local Wi-Fi network. So that might be good for a scenario where you don't have network access in the location where you want the ScreenBeam to be deployed, or maybe you want to provide access for wireless display to some guest users that you don't want to have on your network. To connect, swipe down from the upper right corner of the screen to open the control center, then tap on screen mirroring. The ScreenBeam will show up in the list of available devices, and when you tap on it, in a moment, you may be prompted to enter a PIN, depending on how your ScreenBeam is configured. The PIN will be shown on the display, connected to the ScreenBeam, so once you see it, enter the PIN on the iOS device, and press OK. And in just a moment, your iOS device will be mirrored to the ScreenBeam. Now, a lot of organizations that I talk to, they have this awareness that there's a need to be able to connect mobile devices to larger shared displays, but the exact use case is a little bit unclear. Well, let me help out a little bit there. You see, as organizations move towards cloud productivity services like Office 365 from Microsoft, you're able to leverage Microsoft's investment in tools like PowerPoint for iOS to take a presentation that you created on another device, open it up on your mobile device, and then you can go right into presenter mode, where now we can be driving this presentation, delivering the content, all from our mobile device instead of needing to bring our laptop with us into the meeting space. So it makes it very flexible which device you're able to use to come in and provide meeting content with. When you're ready to disconnect an iOS device from the ScreenBeam, simply open the control center again, tap on the ScreenBeam in the screen mirroring menu, and tap Stop Mirroring. There are two different ways that you can cast the screen of a Chromebook to a ScreenBeam. The first option is to go to the settings in the lower right corner, choose Cast, and then select your ScreenBeam from the list of available cast receivers. This will cast the entire desktop of the Chromebook. So any application that we open on this Chromebook and want to share is now up there for everyone to see in the group. So I can come in here. We can be sharing a web page or any kind of content that we want. Now, some Chromebooks do have lower end hardware, and so if you want to share a video, this cast desktop isn't the best way to do that. It's a little bit more resource intensive than some Chromebooks like. So what we recommend is disconnect. So to disconnect when you're casting your desktop, just go back to settings, and you'll see that there's an option there to stop casting. So open up the Chrome browser, click on the three dots to open the settings, click on Cast. You'll see your ScreenBeam in the list of devices, and then in the Sources dropdown you can choose whether you want to cast the desktop, which is what we saw just a moment ago, but we can also cast just a tab. By casting a tab, we're able to push only the content in that tab to the ScreenBeam, and now that video will be played directly by the ScreenBeam instead of being played by the Chromebook, which maybe doesn't have quite as many resources available for it. So you can see video and audio played right through the ScreenBeam. Hi, it's Parker with ScreenBeam. And in this video, and when you're done, just hit Stop Casting. ScreenBeam 1100 Plus offers best-in-class, app-free native wireless display, allowing users to bring any modern device into the conference room and get connected with any display. And this can be a huddle space, a classroom, a meeting room, a boardroom, you name it. ScreenBeam can get users connected to the display as simply as possible. Now with ScreenBeam Conference, in addition to connecting wirelessly to the display, a user can connect to in-room USB peripherals like a camera, microphone, speaker setup, and allow them to join web conferences on the platform of their choice using the hardware in the room, truly engaging everyone, both in meeting and remote, in the hybrid workspace. There are so many benefits to ScreenBeam. There's so many features, so many options for how to configure the 1100 Plus for your environment that we just can't go over them now. So head on to our website, screenbeam.com, check it out, and like we say here, seeing is believing. So get a demo in your hands and try it out today. Thanks for joining us. To learn more, visit us online at screenbeam.com. and reach out to our team today.